Now, my question is then, what is the solution from your perspective?
See, that's the issue, man. So, like I said, I do think you have to come up with some type of incentive just because for so long, this has been the status quo. I mean, you think about even when the Rooney Rule was created, there still hasn't been no more than 5-6 coaches that are minorities in a season. It's 32 teams in the league. You do the math on it. That's not a lot. And the number goes down each year. And then it got to the point where the number of interviews were going down. Like, that's, for me, I think that's showing a trend of it going in the wrong direction. Now, if this was every year, you know, you're getting 5-6 minority coaches having a chance to interview for these head coaching spots, for these GM spots, that's different. But that hasn't been the case of lately. And I know people will, when you're trying to, I guess, tear down the argument, right? Well, they'll point to the Marvin Lewises or the Hugh Jacksons. And it was like, these are one-off situations in terms of coaches having a longer leash, coaches having tenure at places, right? But I said for every one Hugh Jackson, every one Marvin Lewis, we could point to 10 of the non-minority coaches who have way better situations for them with far less success. And even once they are fired, they still get more opportunities.
Right.
I mean, we talked about that. Like, man, this dude sucked here, but you know, he got fired here and he got hired, 2 weeks later to go down here. We can point to different coaches in both conferences, AFC and NFC, that have had these type of situations happen. So it's just when you're trying to put a spotlight on what exactly the reason is, it's hard to figure it out because it's like, well, in this situation, okay, I can understand that, but this, and this situation, it doesn't make any sense at all in terms of your method. Kind of like when we joke about the arguments we have, right? How, man, you said it was this we're talking about, but now you done moved the goalpost to this, and this. Like, which one is it? That's what it comes off with this when they're doing their hiring process. First is this criteria. All right. Then once you start pointing out, well, these guys have that criteria. Well, then it's this and this and this criteria. And then when you start, okay, well, these guys have that. Then it's back to, oh, no, it's this over here. So it's hard to really figure out what it is that minority coaches should be doing to even prepare themselves for that role. I mean, if there's a specific set of things that owners are looking for, put it out there so that way coaches can prepare themselves and make sure they're starting to check those boxes in line. So when they do take that next leap forward, now, okay.
It's like, yo, I did this, and this, and I did this.
Correct.
Even, like, I went the extra mile with this stuff.
Whereas right now, it's the whole mystery of, well, do you want winning culture? Or do you want a guy who's able to motivate? Do you want a guy who's a player's coach? You want a guy who's more of the disciplinarian? I mean, these are all the things you're factoring in. Do you want a guy who's had a lot of success as a position coach? Or you want a guy who's strictly been coordinator? List it.
Like, what's the rule to get to the head coaching?
Right.
Because it's flipped a little bit here.
Yeah,
all of a sudden, it's the QB guru.
The QB guru or, hey, man, I like this guy. He was in college, man. He lit it up. I like this guy.
But then on the other hand, you have New York Giants with Joe Judge, who special team, and he's more of, I know how to lead the group and get everything organized.
Right.
Because the other guys are QB gurus or, you know, this offensive schematic type of person, where then you have Judge. So I think that's, but if it flips every 5 to 6 years, just on the nature of how the NFL is going, the actual play on the field of what do I need, then that's even hard to calculate as well.
It is.
But man, I like that idea of, it's like, all right, this is what we're looking for. Perform above and beyond, and it's like, you know, what type of excuse do we have then?
Right. It's weird, man.
I think at the end of the day, I think we both definitely don't like the idea that they're doing right now.
I feel like that's too heavy-handed to come in here with this approach of we're moving up draft picks and things like that. That's a lot. That's a lot.
At the same time, as much as, you know, we don't really like it, at least they're throwing something out, right?
No,
I mean, because this could get declined,
right? Because
everyone's like, you know, we don't like this idea at all. But what's something better,
right?
I don't know, man. Because it goes back to the whole system thing. I don't even know how effective, like Louis Riddick was saying, with the job fairs and the conferences to build some type of familiarity with coaches, owners, and GMs. I don't know if there could be like a week thing where everyone goes out and, you know, a golf resort, everyone's kicking it. And I don't know, because maybe that could be something. At least that maybe is getting to the root of things.
And you get a chance to have these minorities interacting with these owners and GMs in an informal setting versus the traditional, hey, we're going here to do an interview. Because we all can agree, an interview setting is totally different than a conference setting or a golf setting or whatever other activity you could be doing. It's drastically different in terms of the formalness associated with it, the comfort level that you're able to have some of these conversations. You really get a chance to know a person. Whereas in an interview, even if it's an hour-long interview, you're not getting a chance to really know those individuals like that because everybody's putting on their front, Yes, I'm perfect. Oh, yes, I'm perfect as well.
I think that might be the idea right there, man. I think I might have something.
Oh, the conference?
A golf resort week or a resort week, actually. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be golf because there will be people that don't like playing golf, but you get everyone together and then you just force everyone to mix it in and get involved, get some drinks.
Get some drink, okay.
I don't know. A little social lubricant and people are talking. It's just a good time. Could that be something or no?
If it led to hires, I'm with it.
We might not know till 4 or 5 years down the line. And the other problem is just time. Is this going to be a thing where if you are in these positions or if you're looking to be a coach, you got to go to this conference?
Time out, because we already have something like that.
Really?
The owners' meetings. The owners' meetings, they have the coaches and the owners down there together. They typically take a week.
Is it just head coaches? That's what I mean.
That's what I have to look into.
We'd have to get people that are aspiring to be head coaches.
I got to check that part because I do know. Oh man, because the competition committee is just head coaches with I think one or two. It might be one or two owners on there, but I want to say during the owners meetings, I want to say all the coaches are down there for these. Oh man, I gotta look into it more.
It's all good.
The only reason why I know because my experiences was even when I signed here my first time in 2014, we were doing the deal for me to get here. But at the same time, I still was having to wait because Coach Tomlin, Colbert, all those guys were down in Florida for these meetings.
Okay.
And that was the reason I was like, okay, now I'm catching on to seeing how this thing works. And every year they're always down there for these meetings. And that's why I was like, well, maybe they're already doing that. Like I said, I don't know the full extent in terms of who all is allowed in there, whether it's just head coaches, whether it's coordinators.
Or even how informal it is.
Like, I don't know all that, but I do know they're down there for, is it a week? It might be a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know that element is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Maybe they need to spice it up a little bit, though.
But it still makes me mad because I think to myself sometimes like, okay, the aspiring coaches, yes, you want those. But I look at how many head coaches are recycled. I mean, in terms of this guy was the coach here, and he's going to get 2 or 3 stops somewhere else, even when he's not being successful.
Are we talking just head coaches or also
mainly head coaches? Mainly head coaches. Some of the coordinators, obviously, they definitely...
Because there's a lot of people that go from coordinator, head coach, back to like a high coordinator position.
I mean, you think, was it Todd Haley? He was one, right?
Yeah.
In terms of going head coach, coordinator again, like he's staying in that type of role.
Yeah, but I guess the tough thing is, though, Haley's a good coordinator, too, at the same time, right?
Well, it depends on who you're asking. Are you asking Browns fans or are you asking Steelers
fans? Me as a Steeler fan, I thought he did well, but you're right. As a Browns coordinator, that definitely flopped.
So it's like, which, and that whole, I always joke about, I mean, anybody could be a good coordinator when you got the killer bees, right? Hey, you get the ball to him, you hand the ball off to him, listen, y'all protect this guy, we're good.
You know what I liked? Him extending Ben's career.
Mm-hmm. Nah.
But, I mean, I guess after his Brown stint, he's not in the league. So, I mean, he proved...
I think about, just to take it a step further, Randy Fichtner in 18, right? People were like, oh, man, the offense hasn't missed a beat. It's still going. It's fine. Ben gets hurt. Randy Fichtner isn't qualified. He sucks. He's a terrible coordinator. We need to fire him. Think about it, bro. Just the year prior to that, we haven't missed a beat. We're fine. No Le'Veon. Look at what James Conner's doing. AB still here. Juju, we're good.
Was Fichtner even the coordinator? That's how much attention I was paying to the coordinator at that time.
Exactly. And nobody had a problem with him being coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 18. They didn't have no problem with that. Last year, all of a sudden is, man, you need to either have a quarterbacks coach or a coordinator. You can't have these dudes doing it both because now you're seeing the results right here. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Understood. Yeah. So, although I did say, Haley, I thought was a good coordinator, there is definitely, to your point, where people are getting bounced around and you're just like, how's this guy still in the league? Like, come on.
Absolutely.
Jeff Fisher comes to mind for me. That was not to take a shot at him. I mean, he had a good run with the Rams there a little bit, but then, or no, I'm sorry, no, not the Rams, because he was on the Rams and the Titans. He had a better stint with the Titans.
Yeah.
But that kind of washed out, and then he was. I just don't know how he was in the league. But anyway.
True. I mean, like you said, you could go down the list of coaches that have had kind of. They've burnt out at one spot in terms of not being successful. Then they go somewhere else. And it's like, oh man, how did he get that job right away like that? I think two people that come to my mind were obviously Andy Reid. It worked out in the end for Andy. But remember when he left Philly, people were like, man, this dude is done. Like he doesn't have it like that. Then he got hired, I think, 5 days of leaving Philly to go to Kansas City.
All it takes is just that one team, though, going back to the NFL draft and picks. If this NFL team viewed Andy Reid as the elite head coach, then they're trying to get him as quick as possible.
Well, then I even thought Jacksonville with Doug Marrone.
I never really thought he was a good coach, so I don't know why he's still in the league.
So he leaves Buffalo. He actually took the contract, like he had a buyout on his contract. So he literally takes it, like leaves abruptly and sits out the year just to make sure he still gets his guaranteed portion of his money so he couldn't get fired. Bills end up hiring Rex Ryan. Soon as the guaranteed portion of his contract ends, like I want to say it was an off season later because he technically couldn't coach because he would have lost that money. A year later, Jacksonville hires him. He was like, dude, this is unique right here. Like not everybody thinks, like you said, that he's a good coach.
No, I definitely
And he wasn't the most successful coach in Buffalo.
I mean, did they go 8-8, 9-7 maybe in Buffalo with him? I don't even know 9-7.
I'm trying to think. No. So no. Because he wasn't the coach there then. It was McDermott. I don't think he had a winning season there. Because I know when he was my coach, our best record with him was 6-10.
He provided a spark, though, maybe.
Debatable.
That's how desolate Buffalo was. And
nah, that's debatable, bro.
I'm not saying it's true.
Rex provided a spark in terms of that element of it. You know what I mean? You go there, but yeah, bro.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm saying it might have been what the narrative was. That's all.
Dude, because I was like, whoa. And he went to Jackson. I'm like, oh, all right. Interesting. Very, very interesting, man.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. It goes back to the whole, what we were saying about the, just the system and what could we point to? Because we've talked about this before. Everyone likes to point the finger at one thing, like, all right, this is the reason. It's easy to consume and say, all right, this is it. Let's just fix this. Right. But when it's something along these lines, it's tough.
It is, man. It is. And it's the thing that not everybody wants to talk about.
No.
I mean, you even look at the proposal. It still was, I mean, it was a headline. But
I didn't even know about it. You texted me about it. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it still wasn't as, they didn't pump it out there because that's
I wonder if they're talking about it today, though. That's the thing. Because that was on Friday, right?
No, this
middle of Friday it came out?
It was either Thursday or Friday.
Really?
Yeah, so for me, I'm like,
if it was Thursday and the amount of traction it got Friday, then that is a little surprising.
Well, because for me, I look at it like this.
Because there was only like a couple stations that I saw. I was looking up research and everything.
Well, and my thing is this. I said, let's be real. It's not a lot of news going on right now.
Yeah.
In terms of sports. So this is still something major in terms of what it could do in terms of changing the outlook of the NFL and the incentives of these organizations. So you would think it would be talked about more. But people get uncomfortable when they have these conversations. Let's be real about it. I mean, anytime you talk racial tension, social injustice, they don't want to talk that. That makes people very uncomfortable. Regardless if you're a minority or not, people aren't really fond about these conversations.
I think it's just you like what you know and you don't want to move off that.
Wait, and we had that conversation before as well. I mean, just through our time together off the mic, where it's like, oh man, I understand, like from a, hey, I've never seen this, so you don't think these type of things go on, and then you point to it and you show it, and it's like, whoa, like I had no clue it was really like that.
Yeah.
So that, I think, does play a role in this right now in terms of people kind of, hey man, if I don't see it, then it's not really happening. But when you put a spotlight on some of these things, it does make people start to feel uncomfortable about it.
Yeah, and I think what a lot of people would want is an example of like, hey, you know, in this case or that case, but then it's hard to say this case or that case just because it's all gray. You don't know
there has been times where spotlights have been put on certain things like that. And not necessarily the hiring element of it, but some of the racial issues and stuff like that. And we saw how that turned out as well.
Oh, you talking about Kaepernick?
Yeah, we saw it. So we know people say it, but they don't necessarily mean it. We do know that part.
So, hold on, who are you talking about?
I'm just saying in general, like people will say, hey man, we want things to be fair, we want diversity, we want to know, like if there's something going on, like tell us. Not all the time do they really want to know that. Even the NFL, like I'm not even gonna put it on fans. Like NFL, I mean, I've sat in plenty of meetings where they tell you, man, speak up. If there's an issue, talk about it. Man, use your platform. Use your platform. That's what they say. But remember when we talked about the Kaepernick thing, we're not going to go down that route.
Right.
But that was one of the biggest issues people have, right? Why are you doing it at the workplace? Why are you using your platform at the NFL games? We've sat in meetings for 9 years. I did personally. And they tell you every time, every year, use your platform, use your voice. If you want to do it while you're up here in the interview, you do it. If you want to do something that you can get away with, it's not going to necessarily get you fined for like a uniform violation. But if you want to express yourself like that, do it. Big on it. Do it. Do it. Take a stand. We're leaders. We're culturally, that's what they say, you're cultural leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Until you do it, and it's not the most popular opinion. Makes people uncomfortable, and then you see how that whole situation played out.
Yeah, the tough part about that, and I hope it doesn't go the path with this, is the message is sent out, and then and then there's backlash to the message, and then
the message changed.
Well, there's that, and then there's also backlash to the backlash. Like it's almost like butting heads of like, what are we going for here? Mm-hmm. I think if we could just go from the standpoint of like, this is happening, right? All right, I'm listening to that. I want to learn. I want to learn about this. How could we make this better, as opposed to having the backlash, and then because that just makes people defensive. It's just a big calamity with it, right? So you're hoping that we could get something going with this. It's a little more, just civil, and we can have a nice back and forth, dialogue and that type of stuff. So,
hey man, fingers crossed. But like you said, the one benefit is they are having a conversation. They are at least attempting to do something. So that is a plus in that regard.
But then I was thinking about this. I was listening to someone, and they brought up black quarterbacks just throughout history. Yeah. And you look now, how many guys we got? We got a lot of guys, and they're really successful. Mm-hmm. So what has been that path? It's just been these dudes get in the position, and then they start balling out. The problem is you don't want to have a situation where, looking back on maybe the 70s, 80s, even 90s, where you have qualified candidates missing out on an opportunity. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're just like, all right, if you're balling out, if you're an awesome candidate, like that's always what should shine through. But at the same time, you only have one life and you only have so many opportunities. Yeah. You don't want to have someone that is qualified missing out. So that's something to consider, I guess.
Definitely is, man.
Yeah.
Definitely is. But it is what it is for right now. So hopefully things change, man. We'll keep everybody updated on it.
Consider my golf outing resort.
Yeah, man. Just more booze.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah. Get some foursomes out there. Scramble. Gambling at the casino. I don't know. There's things you can do, maybe. I don't know.
I just get a little nervous now that I'm thinking. I'm like, this could go really left or it could go really good.
I think it could go good.
Or it could go really bad. That's what I'm saying. We both know how people get sometimes when they have that lubrication in them. Sometimes their true feelings start to come out. You don't know. I'm not saying anything, but it could go really left. That's all I'm saying, man. It could.
Hey, it's a step though, man. Sometimes you need like a breaking point.
Yeah,
you need something. You need something to go. Just like this idea. It's like it's not the best idea, but maybe it's a step.
Hey, it's not the worst though. It could be worse. So take it for what it is, man.